Well, hello, 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 amigas, and welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast. So, hi, I have the honor of interviewing a young adult who is in the process of, guess what, college applications, which is huge. And I remember that time in my life, believe it or not, now that I'm 52, I'm like, wow. So much has happened since then. And so, of course, I wanted to bring someone who is in the trenches, who knows a lot of what to do and what not to do. So, I'm so excited to have here Valerie Carrillo. Welcome to Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited that you're here and you said yes. I'm excited for all the things that are going to happen today. So, Valerie, I mean, I know your mom and your mom speaks so highly of you, but now it's your chance for us to dig a little bit about you in your perspective. And for those of out there, amigas who are listening to the podcast who have no idea who Valerie is, why don't you tell us what, your name and where you're from, and that way we can like navigate your story from there.
Okay, hi, I'm Valeria Carrillo, but I go by Valerie. I'm from Whittier, California, and I've pretty much grown up here my entire life. I've always gone to school here in Whittier, but starting high school, I moved out to, well, first I moved out to Switzerland for a year, and then from there I went to Orange County to finish out my last 3 years of high school.
So you're currently in OC, going to
Yes.
school. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, okay, let's bring it back. Because when you said Switzerland, I'm like, you had me at hello.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about just your familial history. So your parents, were they born here in the States? Were they born in Mexico? Where were they born?
Both of my parents were born in Mexico. My mom was from a small town near Guanajuato, so Abasolo, and then my dad's from León. And I'm pretty sure my dad came around 15 or 16, and then my mom moved to California her senior year of high school. So she finished her senior year at Montebello High School. So she was about 17, my age right now.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, and then they met here in the States, or where did they meet?
Yes, they met here.
Okay.
I think my mom was 18 or 19 at the time, but it's funny because they were only like a couple of hours away in Mexico, and then they met over here.
Isn't that what happens? It's so crazy how it's like it takes a whole international waters to meet up with people
Yeah.
sometimes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they met up here and so it's not like they were formalized educated here. Were they educated in Mexico?
They just completed high school, and that's it. Neither of them went to college. So when this whole like chapter of like applying to colleges and that whole experience was like coming up, I was like completely like oblivious. I was like, I have no idea. And my mom was like, I wish I could help you, but I can't. Like we do have no idea how to do any of this.
And you know that is very much a common theme in first generations Americans because we are accustomed to our families and now we have social media and we have all these amazing tools. But to be quite candid, if your family didn't go to school here, like how the heck are you even going to start the process?
Yeah.
So before we get into the college setting, let's talk about high school because I'm very intrigued by the fact that you were in Switzerland. So let's go back when that decision was made and why and how. So let's go back.
Okay, so I remember the moment exactly when my mom first sent me like idea of boarding school. I was in my eighth grade history class, and I was just sitting there, and all of a sudden my mom just starts sending me three different links to these different boarding schools. One, I think two of them were in Ireland, and then the other one was in Switzerland. And she just sent them to me, and she was like, "You should check these out." And I was like, why? Like they're boarding schools. Like, why am I going to be looking at that? She was like, oh, I don't know. I feel like this could be a good opportunity, but you should start looking into it. And I was like, okay. So I remember in that moment, I tell my history teacher about it. He stops the class and he just starts looking at all these boarding schools in the middle of class and he's like helping me research everything. And when I got home that day, I talked to my mom about it, and my mom had mentioned that it was like her dream growing up going to boarding school, but she wanted to go in Canada. And I mean, it was just like her dream since she was a little girl, basically. But
Mm.
obviously, in Mexico at such a young age, and I feel like in the Hispanic community, like it's not very common to let your kids just leave like that. Like my
No,
grandma, she was very like, no, o sea, no te vas a ir a ningún lado. Like you're staying here with us. Like you're not going.
right.
Not only that, but they didn't have the money to send her abroad like that, especially at such a young age. So obviously, when my parents had the opportunity to send me in the funds, they wanted me to go. And I remember at first the thought of boarding school, I was just so closed off. I was like, absolutely not. Like I have my friends. Honestly, that was my biggest concern at the time. Not even like family. It was just my group of friends. Like I had my friends and I didn't want to leave and I didn't want to lose that. So I was just very much closed off. I was like, absolutely not. Like, no. And I would say probably a couple of months continued going by where I would have these conversations with my mom about it. And I was just like, no, 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 I'm not going. I'm not going. Like I would just shut it down basically. And then eventually, I think once the deadline started coming up for applying to these boarding schools, I went to my counselor about it at school and I told her, and she was like, Valerie, like, this is an amazing opportunity. Like, I've been working as a counselor for the past 32 years and I've never had a student come to me with this opportunity. So that kind of struck me and I was like, okay, so like this is not common, like whatsoever. So like I need to think about this more thoroughly. And I just went home that day and I remember I was like, okay, like let's start looking into it. Like let's see what I need to complete and what the whole process will be in order to get into this boarding school. Because it wasn't just a school where you apply and get in. It's kind of like college, I guess, like a pre-college. Like you
Yeah.
have to go through this whole application process. And also I had decided at the time if I'm gonna go to a boarding school, it's gonna be in Switzerland. And I specifically to that school, you needed to have a certain level of French before you enter the boarding school. If not, you're technically like not accepted because you cannot understand anything.
Right.
So we just started looking into it, and then I ended up getting a tutor for French, and I kind of just went all in. I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm never gonna have this opportunity ever again, and especially as a freshman. Like at least the way I saw it, I'm coming fresh out of eighth grade. Everyone's going to be new in high school, so I might as well just go now instead of waiting till my sophomore year because that was the original plan at the time was waiting until my sophomore year. But I already knew what high school I wanted to go to, and I knew that if I had gathered my group of friends there, I wouldn't want to leave like
Mm.
out of my like shell. So I was like, I might as well just go now. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
So we go through that whole process, and it was funny. So my tutor for French, she was from Mexico, and I would get tutored. So they would teach me French, or sorry, they would teach me French and Spanish.
Uh-huh.
So in my head, I would translate it from Spanish to French, back to Spanish, and then back to English. So I would have
Right.
to do like these multiple translations in my head. So during that whole process, I was just so overwhelmed. Like I was like, this is impossible. Like I'm never gonna be able to learn the language. Like it was just, I knew it was gonna be really hard for me.
Mhm.
But my mom's just like, no, you have to push through. Like this is just one of the steps that you have to take in order to go to boarding school, basically.
Right. Oh my goodness. And was okay, now when you had you made up your mind about boarding school, was there even like, oh, well, maybe this other high school may be a contender, or were you just like, nope, boarding school it is, and that's it?
I actually, during eighth grade at the start of the year, I had toured all of like the most popular like Trinity League schools basically. So Orange Lutheran, Mater Dei, Rosary, Whittier Christian. Like I've kind of just started touring all of these
Right.
schools. And at first I was set on Rosary. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go to Rosary, like I want to go there. Me and my best friend that I've known since I was two, like that was always our plan. Like we were gonna go to Rosary together. And as I started touring all these other schools, I was like, okay, well, maybe Rosary isn't like my top option. And I decided that I liked Orange Lutheran. So in eighth grade, I had decided that I was going to go to OLU, but then this whole boarding school idea came up. So that's when I decided, like, okay, I'm just going to go. And then when I come back from boarding school, I will just go to OLU, like to continue the plan as was before.
Okay, so you get in to this boarding school in Switzerland. Can you tell us the name?
Yeah, so it was called Le Châtelet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. And now you know how to speak French
Le
fluently.
Châtelet. Yeah,
Bien sûr.
yeah.
I speak some French. Well, I'm better than some. And I did study in college and in high school. So anyhow, that's a whole nother vibe, a whole nother thing. Okay, so you're in Switzerland at this boarding school. And so how was it? How was your experience there?
So it was the boarding school, it was an etiquette school
Mm.
along with the boarding school. So it was honestly like I was living in like the real life. Have you watched Princess Diaries, the movie?
Yes. Yes.
I was basically the princess of Genova. Like I was literally the princess from Princess Diaries. It was so funny. So first, getting to the boarding school, I mean, I feel like in California, it's like that's not common at all. Like kids don't go to boarding school. So when I first got there, I was the only girl from California, basically. And all the other girls, I realized they were all from Mexico, almost all of them, except
Oh,
one girl. She was from the Philippines and she became my best friend. And now she's my best friend and she lives in Manila. But
okay.
I feel like that was really unexpected seeing that all the girls were from Mexico because that also gave me like a sense of like warmth because like I can relate to them. I can talk to them in Spanish. Like I kind of have
Easily.
that
Far
connection.
easier than French,
Yeah. So
right?
I was like, okay, like this isn't going to be too bad. So my parents dropped me off at the boarding school and it was my first night and I just remember like they would give us some ease when it came to speaking French, but like they did not want us to speak to them in English. Like they wouldn't ignore us, but they'd be like, try again, say it in French.
Yeah.
And we didn't have our phones. So that boarding school, this I think was like my biggest like trigger was that getting to that boarding school, obviously like middle schools when you enter the whole like, at least for me, like the social media and like the TikTok, the Instagram, and I always had that with me. But getting to this boarding school, they only allowed your cell phones for an hour
Mm.
every day. So from going from having my phone all day every day to only an hour a day was just like so like triggering. I was like, what do you mean?
Torture.
Yeah, I was like, what do you mean? Like I'm not gonna be able to survive? Like I don't even know. But so I got there and it was kind of hard getting adjusted. I was unpacking and I was getting to know my roommates because at the boarding school we had roommates and we switched three different times throughout the whole year. So you would get to, I guess, experience different roommates.
Right.
And I was there as a ninth grader, but in Switzerland they consider eighth and ninth grade technically junior high. And then 10th, 11th, 12th is like seniors or like high school.
Right.
So I was roommating with my first roommates were two also ninth graders. And it was funny because in my ninth grade generation, there was technically only 10 of us. So it was
Mhm.
like very small group. The school was very small. I'd say in junior high, there was about 32 kids. And with the other high schoolers in total, there was probably like 98 girls. So it was a
Mhm.
very small Catholic etiquette school.
Yeah.
And I've gone to public school my whole life before that. So having to experience the uniforms and like all of that, that was like always my dream. I love that.
Hmm.
So we would wear tights and like everything, but that was really fun. But I remember one of our first classes that was very like very I don't know, I guess it was like unhinged was a class called Savoir Vivre, which translates to the
Hmm.
way of life.
Hmm.
And in that savoir vivre class, it was basically like the etiquette class, and you would get like scarves held up to your neck to see what color matches your skin tone. And then we would get tested on how we would walk up and down the stairs with books on our heads, how we would set the table, how we would eat a burger. and to learn what finger food was and all of that. So it was literally like a dream. Like it was not real. Like it just felt surreal at the time. I was like, what do you mean I'm getting graded on how I eat a burger? Like at home, we're used to like having in and out and just eating quick like this, but there it's
Yeah.
like, you cut the burger, you eat the fries with your fingers like this and like
Yeah.
dust it off. But I'd say that the savoir vivre class was the most like unexpected part of my time there. And also all of my classes were in French.
Mm.
So biology, history, math, everything was in French. So the lesson would start, and I remember my first semester there, I was like not taking anything. I was like, what's going on? Like I would see pictures on the screen and I just would figure my way out from there. But all of us, it was funny because all 10 girls in my class, all of us ninth graders, like we would stick together because like none of us kind of knew what was going on at the time because we only went with a certain level of French, but there's only so much you can know
Right.
within 6 months before going. Like it's not much. And whatever I learned with my tutor in those 6 months, I probably learned more within like 2 weeks of being at that boarding school. Like I already knew more than I had learned in those 6 months.
Right.
Yeah. So
Wow.
honestly, all of
Must have
those
been very
classes,
challenging. Like,
yes.
wow. And,
Having all of those classes just helped me kind of like, I guess, like persevere. And I was like, okay, you need to like figure it out because if you don't, like, you're not going to survive at this school. Like, you're not going to know if you don't try and if you don't put effort, like, it's just not going to work for you. And yeah, I mean, that's how the classes, I guess, were over there.
yeah. So you were there just for a year? Why not the entire
Yes.
time?
So for that boarding school specifically, Le Chatelet, a lot of girls go for a year only because you go to that school technically to learn French. So you're starting from A1 and you're ending at B2. But let's say I went again my sophomore year, I'd start again from A1. So I'd be starting from zero all over
Oh, so
again.
it's
So
repetition.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's more so just 1 year, but there are other boarding schools there in Switzerland that are like actual schools, like more international schools where it's not learning French, you can learn whatever language you'd want. But it was funny because as my second semester there, my parents came to visit me. They would have Mother's Week and Father's Week, so the parents would come and visit. But I remember each week my mom and my dad would both come, like they just take advantage. And in February, I had told my mom, I was like, I want to tour more schools. Like, I want to see more schools out here. And my mom's like, what do you mean? Like, the plan was only to come out here for a year. And I was like, I know, but like, I don't know. Like, I really like it over here. Like, if I have the opportunity, like, I would love to stay. And we started touring more co ed schools like Beausoleil and Tassie's and La Roche. Like, they're all these well known boarding schools over there. But that was always a thought in the back of my head was staying longer, but I think that was very unexpected for my parents. Like they were not expecting that from me.
It was like backfiring.
Yeah.
Okay, so but then ultimately the decision was to come back to the States.
Yes.
Okay.
I think my parents, I was very set on staying. I was like, I don't want to come back. Like, I love it over there. Like, I know I won't be with the same group of girls anymore, but I would love to stay.
Mhm.
And they were like, okay, well, maybe your junior year of high school you can go. Like maybe you come back for a year and then you'll go back. And I was like, okay, so that kind of just like settled me down and I was like, okay, well there's like this maybe to it. So
Mhm.
like I'll just come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you landed at Orange Lutheran or where did you end? Okay.
Orange Lutheran, yes.
Okay. And so that must have been a shock, right?
Completely, yeah.
Okay, so now you've been here now for 3 years?
Yes, this is my third year at Orange
Okay.
Lutheran.
So now college time. And that's the reason why we're here, because I really want you to walk us through your process on applying for colleges. Do you know what you want to do in the future?
So my dream school and my dream school since second grade has always been USC. Like I've been dead set on USC. It's just like been
Right on. That's my alma mater.
it's been my dream school since I toured it in the second grade. I just like fell in love with the school and honestly, I mean, I was so little at the time that I was probably just like in my head about it. But now, probably since I got to OLU, it's been more of like, okay, like I need to get into USC. Like that's my goal in
Hmm.
life is to
Yeah.
get into that school. And I started looking into Marshall, so the School of Business.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
now with everything going on with I guess with AI growing, I saw that Marshall offers a program where it's business administration with an emphasis in AI.
Yeah.
And during the summer, I took a lot of AI courses, I guess you could say, like certifications, where you get certified of knowing like the basics of AI and everything. So I think that's what more so piqued my interest is once I started those certifications and then I saw that USC offered that, I was like, okay, well, this is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. It's basically it's a synchronicity of it. It's
Yeah,
like, oh, look. Oh,
yeah,
they do have that. So yeah. Oh, how funny. How amazing though. Okay. So that is your school that that you are I think you guys already applied by now, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so did you apply to just one school or to many schools?
I applied to many schools. Including the UCs, it might have been around 17,
Okay.
but yeah, it was a
And yeah,
lot.
no, I hear that they're applying for, I mean, when God, this was a long time ago. I went to school in the 90s, early 90s. So, so it was very different. I think I applied to 9 schools, but over there it wasn't like you submitted to one and then it gets just, it was not like that. It's like you have to physically apply to each of them. Thank God I got accepted to all, but I ended up with USC. So that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm wishing you lots of luck. So
yeah, yeah.
let walk us through this application process because I know right now we're helping our daughter who's barely going into high school, and we did the tours at all these schools here in the West Side, which oh my God is so hard. Anyhow, but there's all the applications, the recommendations, the interviews. I mean, it's exhausting. Can you walk us through the application for USC?
Okay, so for USC, I mean, it's kind of like all of these other schools, but the only difference specifically this year is that USC Marshall, which is a program I was interested in, they offered ED. So you were binded to the school, and it's the only program at USC that offers ED.
Mm,
So this was very new. So I guess going into it, I mean, again, like I've been dead set on USC Marshall for like as long as I can remember. So when I knew that ED was like a an option, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. So I applied ED. So I had my application basically done by the end of October. I
mm,
had it done. And I started working on my Common App and all of that since the summer. And honestly, I was the beginning of June, so right when I ended my junior year, I was thinking a lot about college, but I don't think I realized how much work it would actually be since I had no one. I mean, I had my best friend actually, she goes to USC now, it's her first year at USC, but she's very like I guess the best way I can describe her, she's like super hardworking, like she's super smart, like all the 13 APs, like she's like crazy. And she had applied to all of these schools and she was kind of walking me through the process because my junior year was kind of when I was like, okay, Val, like you need to get your stuff together because like it's coming up and if you don't, then you'll fall behind and you don't want to fall behind. And my friend was really kind of helping me and guiding me through everything that she went through and it was super exciting like seeing like what school she got into which school she didn't and honestly she felt very I guess discouraged after a lot of the schools released because she didn't get into as many schools as she thought she would and even I was like shocked. I was like, what do you mean you didn't get in? Like that was just like triggering to me and I was like, what if this exact thing happens to me, like what if I get deferred or rejected from all these schools that I feel like I'm going to get into and I just don't and I end up with nowhere to go to. I feel like that's the biggest fear for a lot of high schoolers is like what if I end up nowhere? Like what if I mean I guess community college isn't oh it's not a bad option, but that's definitely a lot of people's not like it's not their first choice. So I think that kind of scared me at first, is seeing this whole like toll that she went down. Her dream school was Notre Dame. She didn't get in.
Mm.
And from there, she ended up going to accepting, and I guess I'm not sure what they call it when you like decide on a school, you're like accepting their
Hmm.
exception.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Pepperdine, she had decided on Pepperdine, and she got waitlisted at USC. And super late into the process, I guess closer to May, she got off the waitlist at USC and she got in as a spring admin. So that she told me, she was like, Val, like it's USC was never even on my radar. Like I wasn't even planning on applying, but like I promise you, like God has a plan for you. And like even if you don't get into USC, like God knows that wasn't the plan for you, and maybe it was, but it's going to take you longer to get there. So I feel like that's kind of the way my perspective shifted. I was like, okay, like Val, if you don't get into USC, like it's not the end of the world, and like there will be other options for you. And there's also other options and other ways that you can get into that school. Like it's not, you don't have to go in as a first year. You can always transfer in or do any of that. But I guess she would put so much work into all of her applications. Like we would be getting lunch and she was like, okay, Val, I have to go on a college meeting. And I was like, okay. And at the time, I didn't have any college counselors or anyone helping me. I had a college counselor at school, but like they can only help so much because they have so many other kids that they're also helping.
Yeah.
And that's when I started researching and I started telling my mom, like, I need help outside of school. Like I'm not going to be able to do this by myself, and you guys never went to college, so you guys aren't going to be able to help me as much as you guys want to. So I think I do have to start looking for other options,
Hmm.
and I guess just start searching. So I started going to my friends and family and just to see what they recommend, because a lot of these college counselors and I guess like coaches and consultants outside of school, it's crazy. I mean, just to apply to like 9 schools, it could be like up to $16,000.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, I was just like mind boggled. I was like, what do you mean 16,000?
And there's no guarantee.
I know, and that's only just to help you out. Like it's not even like, okay, 16,000 and then you'll get into these schools. Like, no, like it's still, I mean, it's still your work that you're putting in. So I started looking at all these different places, and I ended up finding a consultant who helped me and walked me through this whole college process. And I found her at the beginning of, I guess, middle to beginning of July. So that's when I started. And honestly, we like got to work right away. Like we started on kind of doing an outline on my story, my resume of all of like the different things that I've done throughout high school. And I began writing my Common App and my PIQs. That was like the first thing, is the main thing that we started working with. And I went through all of these different trials. Like I wrote so many different Common App essays, like not knowing which one I would go with. And I guess she would give me feedback and then I would give her feedback, and then we just like keep going back and forth. So I was going on meetings with her probably like every 2, 3 days. Like I was always meeting with her. And so I was able to finalize my Common App and my PIQs. So I got that out of the way. But it wasn't only that, like there's also the extra PIQs that come with USC specifically. And so the PIQs is a whole other thing, but once you like get to it, you realize like, okay, this is so much easier than your
Mm.
Common App, because your Common App, you're starting from scratch. Like you literally could write about anything. Like it really anything. So you have to really, when you write your Common App essay, you have to be very authentic and like be yourself, but at the same time you have to realize like you can't be very like closed off. Like you have to be aware that this essay will be read by any I guess college
Yeah, counselor and
counselor or
administrator. Yeah.
administrator. So maybe the administrator doesn't like your story. So that's why you have to be very specific with what you write.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not to like make that, I guess, like scare anyone, but it is very important what you write. And because honestly, they're looking at a paper, like they don't know you as a person. So your story and whatever you share with them says a lot about you. And that's kind of like the first impression they will have of you. So it's really important that you, I guess, take a lot of time and effort and trials into all of these essays that I guess are all about you.
And so, wow, so you feel that hiring a consultant was a great decision for you.
Yeah, it was probably the best decision I could have made. I don't think I would have been able to get, I guess, this far and so ahead of the game because I would talk to friends and they were like, I was already done with my Common App basically like completely as well as my PIQs, and my friends are barely starting. And they're like, "What do you mean you're done?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I've been working on it since the summer." And they're like, "What?" Like it's
What?
October and they're like barely starting their essays. And I feel like if I didn't have a consultant, I probably would have been in the same position as them because I would have no other guidance, I guess.
So when you say summer, you mean junior year summer or okay.
Junior
Okay.
year, summer going into senior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense if you really want, if you are dedicated and want to get in, you have to do what it takes.
Yeah.
And so, okay. Well, I'm glad that you're talking about this consultant, which I know her because she's a dear friend of mine. And she's an experienced person. She's been instrumental in helping many people get into the schools of their choice. So I wish you a lot of luck. You still haven't received any decisions, or have you received decisions on some
Yeah.
colleges?
Not yet.
Not yet, not yet. Yeah, so wish you the best of luck. And then for anybody out there who wants information on this consultant, would it be okay to follow up with you?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And we're gonna have you tell us where they can reach you. I think maybe Instagram or something like that to
Mhm.
give us your Instagram handle.
So it's VA and then the number one ERIA and then Carrillo.
Okay, that's your IG. All right. Anywhere else could they get a hold of you? Like any like what is it? No, you're not in Facebook. None of the kids are on Facebook. What else is out there? I don't know. I don't know. Probably not. That's your main form of
Yeah, I
communication.
say Instagram.
Well, well, you know what, Valerie, I'm so grateful that you're here to tell us. So, I know you're applying to all these colleges here in the United States. Are you doing anything international? Because you have been abroad.
Yes, actually, I think so. I guess my plan B, I would say, is if I don't end up going to USC as a first year, I would most likely study not necessarily abroad, but go to a school in Europe for a year
Mm,
and from there hopefully transfer in. But I'm looking at schools in London, so London School of Economics and Politics, as well
hmm
as IE, the business school in Spain, and then AUP. And I know AUP, I'm not sure if they still, but I know they used to work really closely with USC. So AUP would be good, American University of Paris.
mm.
And I mean, yeah, I'm super open to going to
Yeah.
Europe. It's so funny.
Well, you never know. You've got the experience. So,
Like, would you actually go? And I'm like, yes, like, of course I would go.
in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, life is so different over there.
yeah,
It's
completely.
amazing. And those who are listening who are young, make sure you take advantage of going exploring outside of the United States for college and grown up stuff. You're so mature, Valerie. And so I'm so honored that you had the chance to be here. I always ask my guests if they could provide one or two tips on how an Amiga can handle her shit. You don't have to say the word, but how can someone handle her stuff? A tip or two.
Honestly, be authentic and don't be closed off to any opportunity that comes your way because, I mean, when you least expect it, it could be probably one of the things that'll shape you most in
Mm.
life, and you learn and you grow a lot from those experiences. So don't take anything for granted.
Oh, wonderful. Those are great tips. Is there anything that you believe kids out there should know in this college process that we have not discussed thus far?
Um, just because the outcome that you get isn't the one that you expected doesn't mean that it's not the right one for you. So,
Mm,
I mean, again, like I said, God has a plan for you, and what's for you will come to you. And if it's not for you, then it was never meant for you.
amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you so much, Valerie. Thank you for spending some 40 minutes here with me. And I wish you the best of luck. And I know, like you said, wherever it is, it's because it should be. It's where God wants you to be.
Yeah.
Well, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the days and good luck and keep us posted. Let us know.
Well,
All right. Thank you for
so
being
much.
here. Thank you for being here on Amiga Handle Your Shit podcast.
Thank you.
Bye.